Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review, and in this video I will talk about The Night Watch by Sarah Waters, not to be confused with the fantasy novel of the same title by Sergei Lukyanenko. This Night Watch is a realistic drama, as opposed to fantasy that is, that takes place throughout the 1940s in England and follows four protagonists in their lives and loves during and in the aftermath of World War II. Now, this is the second novel by Sarah Waters that I've read, the first one being The Little Stranger, which I absolutely loved, so obviously I decided to read more of her books. Now, as mentioned, this novel follows a few characters and their arcs, so the plot isn't really something that I can summarize in a sentence or two, but I'll at least introduce you to the main players. First, we have Kay, who used to drive an ambulance during the war, and she's this 40s tomboy, and she's also a lesbian. Then we have Helen, who is also a lesbian, and she's a kind, sweet person who just tries to balance her controversial sexuality with living a normal life. Then we have Viv, who is a straight glamour girl who is having an affair with a married man. And lastly, there's her brother, Duncan, who is trying to get his life together after a tragedy that made him feel ashamed of his past. So generally, Sarah Waters really seemed to know what she's doing. She writes both the voices of the different characters and the time period just so well. And as much as this is a contemporary novel about a certain time, this is also a very personal story of the lives of four individuals. And each one of them feels like an entire world which Waters explores and describes so wonderfully. Now, what I really liked about this book was actually the way that the timeline worked, which is actually that it went backwards, but don't worry, it's completely easy to follow. We start at 1947 and basically see where the characters end up. Then after a while we move to 1944 and finally to 1941, where things started. And this gave the book a very realistic view. You see, we're used to books with a clear beginnings and endings and, arcs that the characters have to go through and problems they need to solve, etc. But in The Night Watch, we don't really get resolutions for all the issues. And it was a bit of a reminder that even if a chapter in the character's life story is over, their lives hasn't. And also, seeing how things started, knowing where they were heading, was also somewhat sobering, especially when it came to one of the relationships. I just kept thinking, wow, I would totally break up with a person after something like that. But I knew the people in question will continue to be together because I read it already. Anyway, the point is that the timeline choice here was very good. So this book was written superbly. It was interesting both in the historical sense and plot-wise. The characters, both main and supporting, were well fleshed out, and it also dealt with a lot of social norms and especially how sexuality was treated at the time. It's a great LGBT contemporary novel. However, having said that, I do have to mention that despite me thinking all these great things about this novel, it was really not for me. I read this book because I really loved the previous book by the same author, but also because, for some reason, I thought that this book was going to be some dark Victorian fantasy. No idea why. Maybe the Lukyanenko series popped into my head. I honestly have no idea. But a change of genre wasn't really what bothered me. The thing is, I really don't like, nor do I ever gravitate toward life stories through the ages. Story of a person or people, how they grew up, their life stories, what happened to them throughout a certain time period. It's just not my thing. I even don't really like Forrest Gump because of that. So truth be told, have I known that this book is going to be the story of a few characters during and after World War II, I probably wouldn't have read it. And this is totally on me for not reading what this book is about. I mean, it was partially on purpose. I like to be surprised by books, but then I have to accept the fact that I might not like what I get. Totally on me. But still. So I guess if you're like me, then maybe this book isn't for you, but having said that, despite not liking this type of plot, I still like the book and most of its characters, so that says something. In short, Sarah Waters writes wonderfully, and if you're into an English 1940s novel or something about the lives of the citizens during World War II or a story about forbidden lesbian love at the time, I definitely recommend The Night Watch. And that's it for my review on The Night Watch by Sarah Waters. Have you read this or any other Sarah Waters novels? What do you think about them? Write down in the comments section. I'd also like to thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to click the like button to show your support and subscribe to my channel if you dare. Guys, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.